Is it possible that Sargeras is a demon lord or titan of disorder, but was dominated by the titans to be one of them? Yes. Yeah, that's extremely likely. Actually, yeah. Yeah, it's possible that he was always a flaming demon of radiance. It is also possible that he was once a champion of order, recognized that he was being controlled, and was able to escape. But if he was being controlled with domination, then it would stand to reason that he was something else before having order forced upon him, like the Titans would do. Yeah, I've played with that idea several times. I have videos talking about that subject because I do think that it's very convenient for the Titan Pantheon to convince everybody that Sargeras was on their side, and always was. You know? Now, when you look at... And here's the thing I find funny. When you look at many creation mythos, right, you have these divine deities who stem from, like, the creator god or whatever. And oftentimes these divine deities, there's usually one of them who is a little prideful, a little more arrogant. Usually, it's a dude. Usually he's a warrior of some kind. Angelic warrior, paladin, defender type thing. Usually the enforcer. And that guy typically falls to corruption or his own emotional corruption or whatever. It's not uncommon for that character to also be on fire. That's actually, I've found to be incredibly common, that character is often depicted with fire. And I think that's fascinating. I think that would stand to reason with some things like Melkor Morgoth, like Lucifer, like Sargeras, like, oh, good goodness, who was I reading about? That was literally a flame from the Mesopotamian mythos. Can't remember his name. It starts with a D, but anyway. The point is that it's not uncommon for these stories to have a group of gods who are pristine and beautiful and living at peace, and there's usually one god who sees a flaw or wants to overthrow God, or, you know, whatever that might be. So it's not uncommon for that to be the slate that is drawn from, essentially. Disorder born from order, in a sense. And so you could look at it like that Sargeras, that the cosmic force of order was so powerful that kind of the cosmic destiny kind of urged Sargeras towards becoming what he is. And by that I do mean like an underlying kind of fabric or will of everything in the universe. And that would be Azeroth, the creator, that kind of stuff. I would think that, like I've said this before, Sargeras may well be kind of like that divine expression of the flaw, in that, you know, everything is not one-sided, right? There is always a dichotomy to exist, and Sargeras may have come to be that antithesis to order, at least at first glance anyway, because the imbalance of the cosmos kind of pushed it that way. Does that make sense? Creation was usurped by order. Disorder is actually destruction, and void is the beings drained of their power, i.e. order was the jealous outside force. I often think about who has what to be jealous of. Who has what to be jealous of? One of the things that comes to mind is, and it always comes back to this, chat. I ask this to my chat all the time. If souls exist in mortals, and they go to the Shadowlands and they die, and after they die, and that's their end point, where do souls come from? Where do they come from? Here's the thing. I don't think the Titans can create souls. I don't think Titans can create souls. I think that there's only one being capable of doing that. And I think that if I was a goddess or god of life, and I could shape living things, and I could make myriad beautiful shapings of my own, but none of them truly had a soul inside of them, I could see how one might grow to have a little contempt for their situation. I could see someone becoming jealous and envious enough that they would want to claim that power of, you know, I can create and shape life, but I can never really truly have what I want because I don't have the power to grant a soul to anything. And I think that if you were to overthrow the two entities responsible for souls and the soul cycle, Argus and Azeroth, I think that that would be a pretty good way of kind of overthrowing that rule. And if you were able to usurp the power of creation, which I think links to the soul inherently, I think in Zereth Mortis, there's a thing that we're going to find that says all creation flows from the heart, outward like a song. Isn't that the story of Morgoth Melkor from Lord of the Rings? Well, yeah. He wanted to make his own song of creation. He profaned the song of Eru Ilúvatar and sought to have his own creations and basically work beyond the bounds dictated by Eru Ilúvatar. And what Eru Ilúvatar ended up teaching him, or them, Valar and the Malar, I think is what they're called, I can't remember, is that there's nothing that they could possibly create that would be beyond his essence. That is to say that Melkor's arrogance and expression of it through disobedience and kind of chaos was in and of itself an expression of Eru Ilúvatar. And that, I think, is also happening in WoW, where the flaws that we see, these misbehaving gods, I think are an expression of divinity. And that doesn't mean that they're not a threat, but they also, I believe, seek to gain something that is beyond their grasp, but not beyond Azeroth's grasp. They seek to claim power that they may believe they can do better with, or construct a cosmos that exists in such a way that the Titans themselves no longer adhere to a cycle, so to speak. And they don't care about mortals. They don't care. We're just fodder. We're just cannon fodder for them. And that's why you get, dialogue from the hermit, saying things like, the Titans don't give a shit about their worshippers. They don't give a fuck about you. You're just a means to an end for them. And probably right. He's probably right. And so that's why this all comes back to mortality. This is why mortals are the key. They're always the key, chat. You guys realize we're the heroes? We really get to be... People say, are we the bad guys? No. No. We can't be the bad guys. We're directly an extension of Azeroth's will at this point. As long as we don't allow ourselves to be blinded by the Titans, by Sargeras, by the old gods, we're not the bad guys. Everything we've ever done initially either was for self-preservation and at this point has turned into defending Azeroth. We started with very basic motivations and they evolved and blossomed into something way bigger. And I think that that is a lot of what mortality and purpose is about, is finding your place in the giant, beautiful tapestry that is everything that's happening. And I think one of the greatest despairs for a mortal mind is feeling like they're not part of the tapestry. And to feel that their life is insignificant and that they don't matter. But that's not the case. It's not the case. And I think in a lot of ways we've let cold calculation and not that I don't believe in science, but science kind of dull the majesty and mystique that is reality. So I just think there's a lot of amazing stuff to be spoken about and discovered there, and I just think, yeah, that's what I think.